Buenas noches a todos. Muchas gracias a los que nos están acompañando el día de hoy para este evento. Muchas gracias a los que nos acompañan desde casa. El día de hoy es la presentación del libro. No sé si es el primer libro de criptoarte, Aaron. No tengo idea, pero yo creo que es probable que sí. Este es, si no el primero, uno de los primeros libros sobre criptoarte. En él, ahorita Aaron nos va a relatar más o menos de qué se trata, qué temas toca en el libro, y bueno, pues va a estar aquí también en venta en Bitcoin Masiva. Y pues bueno, los dejo con el autor de CryptoArt, Aaron Koenig. Un aplauso, por favor.
Muchísimas gracias. Thank you all for coming. My name is Aaron, and the topic of my talk, as Lorena said, is crypto art and crypto culture, which for me belongs together. So the question is, maybe a few words about myself. Can you go to the next chart, the next slide?
Yes, sure.
Okay. I see it there. That's good. Okay. Yeah. So what is crypto art? A few words about myself. I'm in this funny crypto space for a bit more than 10 years now. I've made many films. That was actually my main contribution to the crypto scene. That I made several films for crypto companies, startups, most of them. I also wrote 5 books about the topic. And are you listening or not? If not, I would suggest you go down. And no, really, because it's a bit distracting if you talk.
Oh.
I wrote 5 books. This is my 5th book about Bitcoin. And lately I've been involved in crypto art myself. I'm managing a young artist. And we had an exhibition here at the Bitcoin Embassy a year ago or so. He's called Max Cryptohead. You see him here. He looks a bit similar to Frida Kahlo, I think. And we do the Crypto Hall of Fame, where his portraits of crypto pioneers are shown. And every half year or so, a new person will be inducted into the Crypto Hall of Fame. Maybe Lorena next time. I think she would be a worthwhile candidate. So next slide, please. Okay. Yeah. So what's crypto art? Crypto art is, now, of course, everybody talks about crypto art and NFTs and all that. It's a big hype, big buzzwords. When I was at Art Basel last year, it seemed like a crypto art Basel. It was the big thing. Maybe that hype will go over. I don't mind. Crypto art is much older than this NFT boom. I think it's nearly as old as the crypto movement. Because this artwork here that I put on the cover of this book, which is also a catalog of my exhibition, that's I think from 2012 or 13. It's nothing to do with NFTs, way before, and it talks about crypto culture because the topic here is hodl. And many of you might be familiar with that term. Yeah, just a kind of funny typo of hold. And it's kind of an attitude, yeah, that whatever happens, whether Bitcoin goes up or down, we just keep it. We never sell. We just hold. But for most people, this is like Chinese, yeah. And of course, this is a very famous pop artwork by Robert Indiana. Normally, it says love. So I think this is for me a very typical thing. I mean, the pop art fans or the art fans, they know Robert Indiana. They know love. And they say, but what does hodl mean? And then the crypto guys, the crypto people, they of course they know hodl, but they might not know the artwork, and they say, why is it written in such a funny way? So this is more or less what we're doing. Yeah? We talk to both audiences, to the crypto people and to the art lovers, and there is of course a growing overlap between the two. So crypto art is hello analytics. Is it here? No. You have to do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, next slide, please. What we can observe is there's a lot of art out there which has Bitcoin logos, and here's an Ethereum logo. This is Into the ETH by the famous people who sold NFTs for $60 million. Excuse me, darling, I really mean it. It's really distracting if you talk. We have a bar downstairs where you can talk. Sorry, I don't like this. I need to talk here, please. She's really respectless. She doesn't speak English, right?
I think she doesn't even
okay. Okay. Pueden calar la boca porque quisiera dar una charla aquí? Okay. Gracias. So you see that a lot. There are a lot of these artworks that talk about crypto. I think the next slide, we have a pixelated Bitcoin logo. Can you please show? Yeah.
Next one.
Next one. And so it's quite self-referential. And of course you might ask yourself, is this really art? If somebody just takes a Bitcoin logo and pixelates it, it's a bit questionable. Next slide, please. And what you may know here is the very first NFT actually of history, Rare Pepe, which has been some kind of meme before. It's some kind of cartoon character, and it has become a viral thing, a meme. And the crypto community has adapted it, and now there are lots of these collectible cards with Rare Pepe, lots of variation. Simpson Pepe and Satoshi Pepe. It's a kind of funny movement. Here, my friend Petra, she auctions off these things like every week or every 2 weeks. And these funny, badly drawn frogs, they sell for a lot of money. And of course, you might ask yourself, hey, it's such a badly drawn frog. My God, it's obviously like really bad. Yeah, is this really art? Or, for instance, the famous next one, CryptoPunks. Yeah, I mean, just these pixelated image, they're not even created by an artist. They're created with a software. The artist just said, okay, these are the traits, these are the kind of glasses, or this kind of hairdo, or whatever, yeah, cigars, and there's the computer then mixes the CryptoPunks, and some are very, very rare, and some are more like ordinary, and it's not really what we are used to from art. It's really more like a kind of collectible baseball card game. It's quite unique. I mean, when the CryptoPunk started this, I would say this was really art because it was totally new and innovative. Now everybody copies this. Everybody thinks, oh, I also want to make a lot of money. Because these CryptoPunks sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah, really weird, these little pixelated JPEGs. But there is obviously a demand for it. And now everybody tries to copy it. Now there are the apes and the penguins. It's kind of boring. Yeah? I mean, then when something is new, okay. But when people just copy it, I wouldn't consider that art. What's also quite interesting, the crypto kitties. I mean, they're really cute and they're really kitschy and they're really nice. And there's also some interesting aspect that you can breed two kitties and get a new one. So there's some interactivity in it, some kind of generative art to speak. If you consider that art is these really kitschy little cats, I mean, of course, it somehow reflects what the internet is all about. Because as you all might know, the internet has been invented for us to share pictures of cats. That's the purpose of the internet, right? I mean, who would deny that? So, so we see crypto art does reflect the whole internet and crypto movement. And of course, there's always this question, is this really art? And all these pixel things and crypto kitties, you could consider this a little bit, yeah, primitive or whatever. For juveniles and, oh, that's a word? Okay. But then this question, is this really art? Is probably as old as art itself. Is this art? You know, here, this famous urinal by Marcel Duchamp from the beginning of the 20th century, when everybody's about painting and so on, suddenly Marcel Duchamp came and just bought this urinal somewhere and put it in some exhibition, signing, saying, no, this is a piece of art. That was a shock, of course, for people, yeah? And of course, on purpose. Of course, you reflected the modern society and industry, whatever. I mean, it was a meaning behind. And of course, the second guy putting an urinal in an exhibition would also be kind of boring. And only if it viewed for the first time it's interesting. Or for instance, Andy Warhol, yeah, when he started just taking comics and advertising images and so, people were also shocked and saying, hey, come on, but this is like commercial bullshit. This is not art. The screen is off. And of course, he did it also on purpose. And now he's one of the most famous artists of all times. And you could then, of course, it was also the big discussion. This is really art. So we always have that. Or a little bit more contemporary, Jeff Koons with his attitude to work with kitsch. I mean, he does this, terrible stuff. This Michael Jackson is a monkey and porcelain and gold. I mean, not the aesthetic I would like to have in my living room. But okay, of course, it also does it with a purpose and kind of like criticizing or like parodizing society. So it's all, there's a purpose behind it. Now the question, what is really crypto art? How can we define that? What is it? And one criterion that I can definitely observe is that crypto art reflects this, what I call the crypto culture. And in crypto culture, I mean, it's a movement. It's more like a religion than, it's not just business, it's not just money. It's really a movement where people, wear funny t-shirts and go to these embassy bars and call themselves Bitcoiners. And we have all these funny things like the honey badger, our mascot, which is as fearless as Bitcoin, or to the moon and Lambo and Satoshi Nakamoto. This is a picture here. It hangs here behind by Max Crypto hat. So there are all these funny expressions and memes and rituals that for us Bitcoiners, we call ourselves Bitcoiners, we take them for granted. We think it's normal. It's the way we communicate. But for most people, it's a bit weird, And art, I think, is a very nice vehicle to transport that, to say, hey, this is the crypto culture. And that's what we want to do with our exhibition. Of course, it's not that we invented that. I mean, if you look at all the platforms, many of the crypto artwork will have these motifs. They will have Odal and the honey badger and Lambo to the moon. And our job with that exhibition is more like, a lot of it is actually quite crappy stuff. Yeah, it's not the highest art. It's more like, okay, somebody works with Photoshop, but and we try to just select the good artworks. Next, please. And what's also, I think, interesting that crypto art also uses crypto technology. This is a also quite old artwork by Crypto Graffiti, the same guy who made the Hodl thing. It's called the Valuation Project. And this is an artwork, a Bitcoin logo, which consists of shredded credit cards, which of course also is a statement in a way. And you can send money to this artwork. And that means you know exactly what is the value of this artwork. It's just always a question, why does art have a value? What is the value of art? Why is some artwork worth millions of dollars and others nothing? And here you can really see it. You can see it, you can check it on the blockchain. Yeah, it's also kind of funny working with this, yeah. Or the next one, which is East Boy by Trevor Jones and a lot of money. This is obviously a portrait by Vitalik Buterin, the inventor of Ethereum. He has this funny Picasso Harlequin suit with the Ethereum logo on it. So also a little bit like portrait of a crypto pioneer. And what's interesting about this artwork is it changes all the time, especially the background. So whenever the Ether price goes up and also the transaction fees of Ether go up, the artwork changes with that. So there's some interaction going on, some kind of generative art, which I think makes it interesting. Next slide, please. And this is something here from Mexico City. I love this thing. It's a T-shirt designed by Mojara, and this goes like, it kind of quotes the MTV and the MTV logo, but calling it NFT. But before we comment that, then the NFT, of course, is the big hype thing. Yeah, and of course, it's a piece of technology, and I think people misunderstand it a little bit. Sometimes I have the impression that people think NFT is a new art form, and they want to know which tools can I use to create NFTs. But the art is actually, it's just the art. Yeah, it's digital art, and the NFT is basically a certificate of ownership of any piece of artwork, or actually everything. Everything can be represented by NFT, which is a non-fungible token. There's obviously a very evident use case for digital art, and the reason is there was no market for digital art because you can just copy it without end. I mean, which is practical for music files and videos, that every copy is as good as the original. But for art, it wouldn't work. Art has to be scarce to have a value. It has always been like that. Paintings are scarce, sculptures are scarce, and for instance, with prints or with photography, the scarcity had to be added somehow artificially. Because, for instance, a photo, you can also copy it many times. Okay, maybe the copy is not, there are differences being the original, the negative might be. But in general, there is not this natural scarcity in it. So what did photographers do when they wanted to create art? They said, let's make a limited edition, just 20 pieces, maybe print out a very nice photo picture, and then they were signed. So they had a serial number, just like 3 out of 20, and a signature. And then suddenly this artwork had a value. And actually an NFT is just that. It's a serial number and a signature, just in the form of cryptography, as we know it from Bitcoin and Ether, all these things, and they live on the blockchain, so you can track the NFT. Can someone stop these guys? They don't listen to me. Maybe they listen to you.
Yes.
I mean, there's this place downstairs to talk, right? I mean, thank you so much. Thank you. So the scarcity is important, and that's actually what the NFTs bring. Now you can think about NFTs for anything else. You can think about adding NFT to this physical painting, which is already scarce, or sculpture. And there, of course, the NFT does not need to add that artificial scarcity. There's another thing that comes into the play, which is the next slide, which is, well, the authenticity. Yeah, I mean, in the art world, you have many problems with forgery, with falsified artworks. And of course, if it's on the blockchain, you can track the artwork back to its owner. There's still, of course, a little risk that somebody, puts in something on the blockchain that is not his or her work. Yeah, that still can exist. But from there on, of course, it's quite easy to track it. And there's this other art term called provenance. Yes. And this is basically the history of ownership of an artwork, which in the art world is very important. That's actually one of the main functions of the gallery, to prove the provenance of an artwork. So usually when you buy an artwork, it comes with a whole record saying, yeah, Picasso painted it. Yes, he really painted it in 1907, and then sold it to that collector, and that collector sold it to that gallerist, and that gallerist sold it to that museum, and then the Germans came and then captured it all, and they had to get it back, whatever. All this history is usually documented, and of course it can be falsified. Yeah, there can be false provenances. And on the blockchain, as we all know, the blockchain is immutable. And what's on the blockchain stays on the blockchain. Nobody can change it in hindsight. Yeah, that's definitely a great advantage of NFTs. Let me maybe explain this word NFT. I don't know if Edgar is familiar with it. The word means non-fungible token, which is a bit of a funny word. What is fungible? Does it have to be with pizza fungi or so? No, it's basically interchangeable. And it's not so special because most of the things in our world are not interchangeable. The only thing where fungibility is really a requirement is money. I mean, if I now borrow 1,000 pesos from Lorena, yeah, and then I give it back another whatever, she gave me 2 notes of 500, and I gave her back 10 notes of 100. She will not complain, say, "Oh, but these are different notes. I want my notes back." No, it doesn't. She doesn't care as long as it's 1,000 pesos. It's fine. But if I borrow a car from her, and she borrows me her Porsche, and I give her back my Volkswagen, she would complain, saying, "Hey, I want my Porsche back." Yeah, I mean, these things are not interchangeable, and actually, most things in life are not fungible. So the non-fungible token is not so special. Just on the blockchain, it's a new thing because I mean, Bitcoin blockchain that has been invented is money, and now suddenly with the NFT, we can do other things than money. We can represent unique things. We can represent assets such as art, but maybe also real estate, maybe vintage guitars or wine or anything you could think of. I think we're just at the very, very, very beginning. And digital art is a very prominent use case because, I mean, art is popular, art is sexy, people like art, and there was no market for digital art before. Now, when you want to enter, let's say, the market for real estate, I'm pretty sure that NFTs will conquer and disrupt this market, but it will not be as easy because you have these registration offices by the government. They're very inefficient. Maybe they're corrupt. Maybe you can bribe somebody to, and suddenly you don't own the house anymore and it's owned by the narcos. All these things which cannot happen anymore on the blockchain, but you still have to somehow overcome the incumbent players. And this wasn't the case with digital art, and that's, I think, why everybody now talks about digital art and not so much about the other use case. I think this will take a while, but then it will be big. And what we already see, that it's not only art that makes the news and where the big money is, but for instance, when a celebrity gives out an NFT, let's say Leo Messi just released an NFT, sold out in 5 minutes or so because he's very popular. He has many fans, many followers. And I don't know exactly what it was, maybe some scenes of goals or 3D animation, him making football tricks, nothing really considerable art, but okay, people who love Messi would collect that anyway. So I think it goes much more in the direction of collectibles, baseball cards, game items. I think that the time where we would totally identify NFT with arts will soon be over. There will be many use cases. I guess some that we cannot even imagine. Huh? But let's get back to the art world. There's one very interesting thing that NFTs and whole crypto art world brings into the play, which is new, because now suddenly there's such a thing as royalties. That as an artist, you can also benefit from every secondary sale. I mean, in the old artwork, you were a poor young artist, you sold your artwork to a collector, and that was it. Yeah, you got 1,000 pesos for it, and when he then sold it for 1 million, yeah, you would still have your 1,000 pesos, nothing more. So you would always compete. When you then became, more successful in the future, your artworks that you sold as a young, unimportant artist, you have nothing from them. And in the NFT world, with every secondary sale, you can define the artists get 10% or 15%, and that's encoded in the smart contracts. And I think that's a very good thing. It's fair. I mean, it's the artist who should benefit from the art most of anybody else. Yeah. So that's a very good thing. So let's have a look at. Now okay. One more thing here with this Mohara T-shirt. I think it's very funny. It's really a real T-shirt. You can only wear it if you own the NFT. So there's a connection between the real life product and the NFT. And it says, "Crypto killed the gallery star." And it's very funny. I love that T-shirt. Unfortunately, I don't own one. It was sold out before I knew of it. It's very beautiful, kind of referring to the very first song that was ever played on MTV. Video killed the radio star. But will crypto really kill the gallery star? I don't think so. I mean, one could think that galleries will become totally obsolete because now artists can connect to the buyers online. Buyers don't need to go to the gallery. They can just buy the art directly from the artist. And all the things about authenticity and provenance that we mentioned can now be handled by technology. You don't need the galleries for that. But I still think that there is a reason for galleries to exist. Maybe you don't do this, that it doesn't switch so often. Maybe don't put it from 5. No? Okay. Okay, next slide, please. So what I think is, I don't think that the galleries will cease to exist, but they have to reinvent themselves because crypto art is kind of redefining the relation between artists and collectors, curators and galleries. And galleries will still have a role, but a different one. For instance, next slide, please. Just giving, at the moment there's so many of these marketplaces. You might have heard of some of them, OpenSea, Super Rare, and Rarible. And they're not really galleries. Some of them, they have a policy of just curating some artists. We in the future will work with a platform called Carnaval Art. It's focusing on Latin American art. And they have a relatively strict policy. They will only use good art and only show art from Latin America. And they work together with the galleries and with the museums. But many of these platforms, anybody can just upload their NFT. And it's more or less a matter of money where they want to pay these high minting fees and stuff. But they're not really galleries. So I think especially in this world, which is so confusing and overwhelming, and you really don't know where to get the right artwork, and you really have to study a lot to do that. I think there is a role for people to say, okay, these are good artists, and this may be not so interesting, this is a new trend. So there's definitely a role for the gallerists. And of course, there's also a role of educating, because at the moment, most collectors have no clue about how to set up a wallet and the key and the minting and all that stuff. It's still a bit of learning, yeah, but that's like Bitcoin 10 years ago. Now, I think everybody knows how to use a Bitcoin wallet, especially here, I guess. And in the NFT world, it will be also the same. And the galleries, I think, have the role to educate the audience, especially the collectors. We started doing that. We had a really interesting workshop in New York City. We'll do something here in Mexico City, like really hands-on workshop for collectors. This is how you download the wallet and install it and buy the artwork. I think this is important. And sorry, we're not ready. And of course, the gallery should provide guidance, orientation, and select the best artists and foster artists, and also to connect artists and collectors. Because theoretically, yes, artists could reach their audience directly, but my feeling is that most artists don't really want to do that. They want to focus on the art and all the business side and marketing. They're happy if somebody else takes care of that. There might be exceptions, but for instance, my artist, he just wants to focus on the art. He doesn't care about giving talks and exhibitions and selling. He leaves that to me, which is good for me in a way. So, and I think this will be still a normal use case, so that galleries will have a role in the future. So that's why I have this little, well, it's not really a gallery, it's just basically a website, an online gallery. We call it Moonstock, like Woodstock or to the moon, of course. And what do? One thing I already mentioned a little bit is the Crypto Hall of Fame, which is in the 3D space. We have portraits of crypto pioneers, and it is an art project, but at the same time, it's also something, like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The people talk more about, okay, who will be next one to be inducted? There's a committee that selects a new candidate, maybe Lorena, or maybe the president of El Salvador. We don't know who will be the next one. And then Max Crypto will make a portrait. We had many of them here in this space, but now it has grown a bit. Yeah, now it's a little bit different concept. So this is one of the things we do. And then, here we see some Satoshi Nakamoto, Adam Beck, David Chong, Hal Finney, Lasse Heinz, the pizza guy who bought 2 pizzas for 10,000 bitcoins, Nick Szabo. I mean, maybe not everybody knows these people. In the crypto world, they are like heroes. They're like the giants. And Max Crypto is there. He portraits them. That's him. Yeah. He has a significant. He looks really similar to Frida Kahlo, I think. Maybe it's just like, I don't know, barbarian, I don't know, child or something, or grandchild, I don't know. So this is, and he was actually the one who suggested that exhibition. And in the beginning, we only wanted to do with his artworks, but then we opened it up because he has already started making some artworks about crypto culture. For instance, this about the honey badger, which is the mascot of the Bitcoin movement. Or the next one. Just the next one. But now we opened it up. Sorry, back to this. We opened it up and say now we don't only want to show Max Crypto. He's of course a bit overrepresented in the exhibition. I think it's fair because he had the idea. But now we also have Hodel, we have classics, we have Lucio Poletti and Johnny Dollar, and many like heroes of the crypto art world, but also not so well-known one. It's a mix. And the concept here is that every artwork, see, low battery? No, it's okay. I think it works. That every artwork in this exhibition, and this is a catalog of the exhibition, it's also a book in its own right. And you see, to every artwork, there's a little story. Here's Lambo by Fira, and you explain why do crypto nerds always talk about the Lambo, or here the Genesis block, and many things. Here the shoes, the two-tone shoes of La Bitconf, and different aspects of crypto culture. And to every image, here the Bitcoin Pizza Day, we had a Bitcoin Pizza Day here in May in the embassy. And it's also kind of one of these rituals that the Bitcoiners do, that every May 22nd, they eat lots of pizza to celebrate that first purchase of a real good for Bitcoins. 2 pizza for 10,000 Bitcoins. So there are all these little stories. So I wrote these stories that goes with the artwork. So in a way, it's an art book. Yeah, it also explains a little bit what I said here, what's an NFT and how does it work. But mostly it's about the images themselves, kind of a coffee table book. You can browse through it. But by browsing through it, by looking at the artworks and maybe wondering, what's this honey badger? And why to the moon? What does it mean? You get the information. So in a way, it's kind of a history book of the crypto movement at the same time. And we will have an exhibition with that. Funny enough, the idea of an exhibition was older, and I thought, it should also be a book. Now the book's already done because I wanted to have it in El Salvador for the conference there in November. So I printed a very limited edition. I have just a very few of them here now. 4 Bitcoins, of course. They were printed in El Salvador. And the only place you can buy them at the moment is here with me and in the embassy later. But it's not on Amazon yet. When the exhibition starts in April, the book will be officially out. But now you have the chance to get the limited edition signed by me if you want, because you can pay in Bitcoin. So very rare opportunity tonight. And the exhibition will start in New York City. It will then go to Miami. It will go to Mexico City. I don't know the exact date yet, so we'll let you know. It will go to São Paulo, Brazil. It will go to Buenos Aires, and then later also to Europe, working on that. So it will be kind of a traveling exhibition. I mean, our artworks are digital. We don't have to carry anything. So it's just like putting up the screens and showing it there. That's a good thing about it. So that's the exhibition. I invite you to come to Mexico City when it's there, or maybe we do something in Tulum in Mexico. Miami is also not far away, or maybe you want to go to Argentina sometime. So hope to see you there. And in the meantime, I can show you the book, maybe some images. Yeah, as you see, there's always an artwork on one page and a little story there. Not much text. What else do we have? Here, Satoshi, also made out of shared credit cards, Crypto Relaxer. This is an animation to the moon, also made by Max Cryptohead, but here just some. But in the book, you also have some QR codes, so you can scan it and you get the videos online. This is by the famous artist Fira from Colombia, about the Lambos. This is by Venezuelan artist Dinora Delfin, the laser eyes, which is actually an old artwork by her that she made it before, and then I thought, oh, we need something with lasers. Why don't you just put laser eyes into the artwork? And it means when somebody has laser eyes on the profile picture, it means they are Bitcoin supporters. And I honestly didn't know about that. I should have, and I only knew about it when I saw that the president of El Salvador suddenly had laser eyes in his Twitter profile, and then it means that he's supporting Bitcoin. Okay, so I told to Dinora, why don't you just add laser eyes and you have a crypto artwork? Yeah, it's as simple as that, because I really love this artwork, kind of medieval. So, yeah, that was my talk so far. And if you have any questions, or if you want to buy my book and get it signed individually by you, I'm here for you. And yeah, any questions? Please go ahead. Yeah. Question there. Pardon?
When are you going to Miami?
And it will be the Bitcoin 2022, this big conference, which will be April 6 to 8. And I work with this art platform Carnival, and they're one of the main sponsors, so we will do something there together, yeah? In April, yeah. April will be the month when this exhibition starts, because it's also the month when the platform starts, and we need a platform to mint the NFTs and sell them. So it fits together, yeah?
All right.
Will you be there too?
I might see you. Yeah, I'll look.
Oh, yeah, great, super, yeah. Okay, more questions? Don't be shy. You can speak in Spanish. I understand Spanish. If you like. I'm just too shy to speak.
They're asking in the streaming how much is the book now?
I sell it for 80,000 satoshis,
80,000 satoshis.
0.0008 bitcoins. Okay. I think in dollars is a little bit more expensive, 40. I mean, not really expensive. It's like limited edition, very special. Yeah. Probably when you get it signed by me, it will be worth much more later on the secondary market.
Okay.
But how will the people online get the book?
Okay.
Will you come over here like just now, spontaneously? Then I sell you one. Online is difficult. It will be there. It will be on Amazon, but you have to be a bit patient.
What?
Yeah. Okay.
Bueno. Hola. ¿Qué onda con estos micrófonos?
We can speak like that. I mean, you hear me, don't you?
Yeah.
Ok, ¿alguien más tiene alguna pregunta? ¿No? Si no, podemos pasar a la presentación del video y damos por concluido el streaming, ¿no?
Yeah, we have a little extra.
Okay.
We have a little extra. It's a different topic. I mean, okay, filmmaking is also kind of art, and that's what I make most of the time. And I also do a little bit of music. I wouldn't consider myself a musician. I just like to write songs every now and then. Like every couple of years, I sit down with my friend Julio in Buenos Aires. He usually makes the music for my films, and I pay him for that. But sometimes I say, hey, Julio, let's do a song. And when I came back from El Salvador to the Bitcoin Beach, which was the nucleus of this whole El Salvador story, it was a little social project at the beach. We were there.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You see all these people on the street selling stuff for Bitcoins. Really amazing project. So I wrote this little song, this reggaeton. My girlfriend hates reggaeton, but I like it. And we performed a little video. The video is not shot in El Salvador, you might see. It was shot in Mexico, in Playa del Carmen. Much better beach, by the way. Yeah, and this is the song. I think I will not try to perform it here. We just watch the video. It makes more sense. Yeah. Do you have the sound?
Yeah, but we can transmit it on YouTube, right? Because
Of
it
course,
has a-
yeah, of course.
we can do it.
You
Or we
can. Yeah.
I
No,
can.
please,
Okay.
please.
Ok, bueno, de todas formas, acá voy a dar por concluido el streaming de la conferencia. Vamos a pasar a ver y a escuchar el video tanto en la transmisión en línea como aquí. Y pues bueno, nada, los quiero invitar al siguiente jueves. Va a haber un meetup de Blockchain Academy Chile. Si quieren venir a conocer más comunidad, checar algunas opciones de aprendizaje para entender un poco más sobre blockchain, sobre Bitcoin y otras criptomonedas, pueden venir al meetup. El siguiente jueves tenemos el meetup del Buen Bit. Y bueno, estoy a punto de lanzar una convocatoria en línea para las mujeres que quieran presentarse el día 12 de marzo con motivo del Día de la Mujer, dar una breve ponencia, alguna conferencia pequeña, una plática de algún tema que les apasione. El punto de hacer este evento es darle visibilidad a todas las mujeres, que ahorita veo que son muchas, somos varias, generalmente son más hombres, pero ese es el punto, ¿no? O sea, que se vea que sí existimos las mujeres aquí en el criptoespacio, que habemos chicas que estamos interesadas en esos temas y pues bueno, estén al pendiente de esta convocatoria por si quieren participar. Y nada, ¿alguna otra cosa que quieras decir antes de terminar el streaming?
Me? Yeah, the song has been published yesterday, so it's kind of a premiere. You can stream it on Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon, wherever. So if you like Bitcoin, want to make it more public, go there and stream it and share with all your friends so we get #1. So the whole world will speak about the Bitcoin Beach. So enjoy the Bitcoin Beach.
Oh, no me deja verlo. Ahí está, listo.
I'm here if you want a book. I'm here for you.
Okay.
I just need a pen if anybody wants a signature.